Hello everyone and welcome back to Lucky Loaders 15, where I'll be giving you 4 selections for tomorrow's Epsom Derby day. Before we get into that, I should just say that I am recording this video on Friday morning. Unfortunately, I just didn't have time to record this video any later, so apologies for that, but hopefully we can have some winners for you tomorrow. So let's get stuck into it then. The first race we're going to go to is in the 2 o'clock Epsom, and this is where my Longshot's going to be running, and it's a horse called Sweeping for Holly Doyle and Archie Watson, currently available at 12 to 1 with a few firms, including the likes of Paddy, who are offering 4 places on this race. I'm going to recommend a 0.5 each way selection here. Now this horse I think shaped with a great deal of promise on his seasonal reappearance when he finished second at Wolverhampton behind a smart William Haggis horse called Unifeast. That was a good run that day. I think he'll strip a little bit fitter for that. Also as well, what's interesting here is that they're reaching for the first time cheek pieces. And I think they're probably going to want to go forward with him like they did last time. And if he does go forward, he might be able to get an easy lead, and he could be quite hard to peg back. He's got an interesting pedigree as well, which means he'll probably stay a little bit further than this in time. And I've seen quite a few in recent years, quite a few front runners win this. And I think if he can be on the pace, I think he's got a cracking chance. I think Holly Doyle as well. I think she's one of the best around when it comes to front running jockeys. And I think this horse has got a good chance tomorrow. And yeah, he might just be able to get an easy time of things. And at 12 to 1, I'd be disappointed if he couldn't be there or thereabouts for the places. So yeah, he's going to be my long shot of the day. We then go to my nap, which runs in the 2:35. It's the Princess Elizabeth Stakes, a Group 3 contest for fillies and mares. Now, quite a few people might want to look at the top of the market here, but I fancy one at a bit of a bigger price, and that's a horse called Technique for Rob Hornby and Freddie and Martin Mead, currently available at 8 to 1. I'm going to recommend a 1 point each way selection here. Now, this horse Technique has been a bit of a frustrating horse, but I think she might have her day in the sun tomorrow. I thought her latest run behind Noon Star at Nottingham in a listed race there wasn't a bad seasonal appearance. She was only just touched off. But I think she's a horse that will have her day. She had a lot of good form last year as a 3-year-old. She ran in the Oaks here. She finished second at Salisbury behind a horse of William Haggis's called Lilac Road, who's now a Group 2 winner. Also as well, a 4th in the Nassau Stakes reads quite well behind the likes of Lady Bowthorpe and a couple of other nice fillies in there. So she's got some good form at the highest level, and I think this is definitely a winnable race for her tomorrow. The same connections actually won with these colours. Martin Mead did with a filly quite similar called Wilhelmina. You might remember, I think it was back in 2018. So yeah, I think Technique does have a lot in her favour tomorrow. The ground should be fine as well. I think she's a bit overpriced here personally, and I think at 8 to 1 I'll be disappointed if she couldn't get involved. I quite like her chances tomorrow, and that's why she is going to be my nap of the day in the 2:35. We then go to the 3:45, which is the Epsom Dash. Always a great spectacle here, but I thought one of the market principles, Stone of Destiny, could be the way to play for David Prober and Andrew Bolden in the colours of the King Power Racing. Currently available at 7 to 1 with SkyBet, who are offering 7 places on this race. I'm going to recommend a 0.5 each way selection here as my extra tip of the day. Now this horse is a hard horse to win with, there's no doubt about that. He always seems to be doing his best work late on, or always has a couple of excuses, but I just can't ignore the fact that he's now down to a really nice mark of 92, which is now £1 below his last winning mark. In fact, actually, if you go back through the form book, he actually finished 3rd in this race behind Mockatil when he was running off a much higher mark. He was actually £11 higher, so he's definitely fallen down the weight, and I think there's going to be a lot of pace on in this race. Of course there's always going to be a lot of pace on, but you're going to have Living the Dream towards his side, towards the stand side, which isn't actually often a bad place to be. He will need luck in running, but I just thought there was going to be quite a lot of pace in here, and it could just could be paid to be ridden a little bit more patiently. And I think he'll come with a late run, and I think at 7 to 1, I don't think he's a bad each way price there, and I think he can definitely get involved, and he might even be good enough to win it because he's now down to a good mark. So he's going to be my selection there. We then go to the big race of the day, which is the 4:30, the Epsom Derby, in memory of Lester Piggott. A great touch there by Epsom Racecourse. He was a great man. He rode before my time, obviously, before I got into racing, but I do appreciate him as a legend of the game. And yeah, it's sad that he is no longer with us, but yeah, he might be looking down on this race, and he might like my selection here, Desert Crown for Richard Kingscote and Sir Michael Stout, currently available at 7 to 4. I know you don't have to be a wise guy to pick this horse out. He's 7 to 4. He deserves to be favourite. But I've looked through the field in this race so many times, and I get that Aidan O'Brien and Godolphin need respecting, but I just don't think their crop is that good. I probably would, out of the two, prefer, you know, Brian's horses, but I'm not sure that all of them are going to get their conditions, where I think Desert Crown could be a star in the making. I really do. I doubted his Dante run originally when I was watching it in real time, but the more I've looked back on it, and the more I've seen everything, the times, the figures, and everything like that, I think he could be a special horse. This obviously he won at Nottingham on debut, bolted up in the Dante. It was interesting. He was weak in the morning. I think he opened up round about a 7-4 kind of shot, and then he went off and he won the Dante at 7-2. But for me, he just looked like a horse. The further he went, the better he got, and he beat a fair yardstick and real patronage. But I don't think Desert Crown was barely out of second gear, so I think there's a lot more to come, and I think he'll still be down the bridle halfway down the home straight, and hopefully if he can find what he did at York, I think he might just take all the beating here, and I think he is quite clearly the way to play. And he's not got a bad draw in stall 12 as well. Sometimes it's not a bad place to be out there, because they kind of go up the hill, they go right, and then they turn round when they come up to Tattenham Corner. So yeah, it's not necessarily the worst place to be. But yeah, for me, Desert Crown, I thought he was the obvious favourite. I think 7-4 isn't a bad price. Be interesting to see how he is on the day in the market. I think he'll be quite a popular horse, obviously, for Sir Michael Stout, obviously the Shergar story as well. So yeah, interesting horse, but I do think he is most likely winner of the race, and yeah, not an original selection, but I just can't put him up as my nap, but I'm going to put him up as my next best of the day. So yeah, that rounds off my thoughts on Epsom Derby Day. So if you're still enjoying these videos, remember to hit the thumbs up button and subscribe here to the YouTube channel at LuckyLoads15. You can follow me on the socials as well, where I'm on Twitter and Instagram at LuckyLoad15. Please remember to gamble responsibly, and we'll be seeing you again soon.